Good morning, everybody, and welcome back once again to Maximus the Fourth. What I have here are two cans. The first one, to your guys' left, is an original Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi, and then to your guys' right is a modern day Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry from 2024. Title of today's video is going to be, Does Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi actually taste different than Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry? In today's video, I'm going to walk you guys through the history of both Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi and Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. And you might be asking yourselves, is there a difference? Yes, there actually is. And we're going to cover every last bit of that today in the story. Once I'm done with the story, I'm going to scan the ingredients and we're going to take a look at what has changed exactly between these two. And then, lo and behold, I'm going to open up both these cans and do a taste test. So here we go. So, Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi was first released in 1988. This was actually the replacement of a little drink called Diet Cherry Cola Slice, which this was first released in 1986. It was discontinued just 2 years later in 1988, but there's no specific date of when this had disappeared off of store shelves. I've seen one bottle of a regular Cherry Cola Slice that was printed in 1993. And even before Diet Cherry Cola Slice came out in the States, there was Cherry Pepsi that came out in 1985 in Ontario, Canada, but it's unknown if they had a diet version of that soda. Nothing happened until 2005, but let's go ahead and take a look at different cans to kind of get a visual of the evolution on how the artwork changed over the years. So next up, I have this can of Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi, and I think that this can is from either 93 or 94, maybe 95, somewhere around there. And then this can is from 1995, and it was pretty much the same design, but they went with the grungy version look. The original Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi run lasted for 17 years, and then in 2005, it was renamed and reformulated into Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. And here's a can from 2009. You can see that they went with the lowercase print letters or words. Now, lo and behold, this can that I'm going to open is actually from 2023, and they might have had, I think they have a different change, at least for the regular Pepsi Wild Cherry and zero sugar Pepsi Wild Cherry, but I haven't seen the new design for the Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. Now that I've given you guys the history lesson of both of these drinks, it's time to scan the ingredients. Starting first with Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi. It reads carbonated water, caramel coloring, phosphoric acid, NutraSweet brand of aspartame, potassium benzoate, which preserves the freshness, gum arabic, caffeine, natural flavorings, citric acid. And now, Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry, it reads carbonated water, caramel color, phosphoric acid, natural flavor, aspartame, potassium benzoate, which preserves the freshness, potassium citrate, citric acid, caffeine, acetylphane, potassium, and calcium disodium EDTA to protect the flavor. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what's the same between these two. So at the first three ingredients, they both have carbonated water, caramel coloring, and phosphoric acid at ingredients number 1, 2, and 3. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the differences. The first difference that I can see in both of these is that the old Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi has 9 different ingredients, whereas the modern day Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry has 11, 2 more ingredients in here than in the old one. The original had gum arabic, and the modern day did not. While they both had aspartame in them, they went under a different name. The original went under the name Nutra Sweet, and then it just simply says it was a brand of aspartame. The modern day one simply marketed as aspartame at ingredient number 5, and the Nutra Sweet ingredient number 4. They both had and have potassium benzoate to preserve the freshness, but the original one had more potassium benzoate in it, placing it at ingredient number 5, whereas the modern day one has it placed at ingredient number 6, so slightly less than this one. Next up, while they both had caffeine, the original one had caffeine placed at ingredient number 7, whereas the modern day one has caffeine placed at ingredient number 9. As I can see here, the modern day one has 38 milligrams of caffeine, and it doesn't say how many ingredients are on the old one, but to give you the old Maximus IV estimation, I'd probably say around 34 milligrams of caffeine, using the same chart that I used in the Pepsi Lime video that I shot a little while ago. Next up, they both have citric acid in them. While the original one had citric acid placed at ingredient number 9, the modern day one has citric acid placed at ingredient number 8. So this one has a little bit more citric acid in it, and that probably will give it a little bit of a different change in the flavor. Now, here is the key difference between these two. The modern day one has 2 other ingredients that are not in the old one at all. That is acesulfame potassium and calcium disodium EDTA, which is to protect the flavor. And the only difference left from what I can see, they both have caramel color at ingredient number 2, but while the modern day one went under the name of caramel color, the modern day one had caramel color in it, yes, but it went under a different name. This one went under the name of caramel coloring. And that is pretty much everything you might need to know about the ingredients as far as the digging goes. Now, let's do a taste test of both these. The question needs to be asked, will this actually still taste fresh? Because I am still yet to have ever had a good experience with a vintage diet soda. Here we go. This is still there, perfectly intact. I think this is probably going to be my best shot at getting a vintage diet soda. Never had a good experience yet. Okay, since I'm more familiar with Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry, and I've never tried the original Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi, let me just drink the modern day one first. Can definitely taste the cherries in here, but it's diet beyond belief, and it is loaded with artificial stuff in there that's giving it the sweeteners, the aspartame. Now, it is the moment of truth. Let's try the original Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi. Ugh, God. That is horrible. Dang it. Gosh dang it. The question needed to be asked, is an original diet soda, if found in a can, still fresh? It appears to be fresh, and the fizz is still in there, and it's acting as if it's perfect. But, unfortunately, unless there is regular sugar in a drink, you get absolutely no advantage in trying to taste one of these things at all whatsoever. But I could just barely taste a little bit of cherry, even through the cruddy taste. But for the most part, unfortunately, unless I was around in 1988 to actually try one of these when they were first on the shelves, there's no way I'm ever going to know how it would taste. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the taste test comparison of both the Wild Cherry Diet Pepsi and modern day Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry. Diet Pepsi Wild Cherry is the undisputed winner, no doubt about it, for sure. No questions asked. There you guys have it. You guys know what to do. If you guys are new here, you need something to do, make sure you check out my video, Dr. Pepper Fantastic Chocolate Official Review. Also, make sure you check out my other video, McDonald's Breakfast Mukbang. I will make sure to leave both of the links of those videos down in the description of this video. And in the past, I actually did a taste test comparison of regular original Wild Cherry Pepsi next to Pepsi Wild Cherry. And I will also make sure to link that video down in the description of this video if you're further interested even in that. And with that said, Maximus IV here. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.